All right, this is portals, man. So I've been carrying around an idea for about a week or so after listening to, or re-listening to, or hearing again about this cave structure or series of caves that was found in the Grand Canyon around the turn of the last century, early 1900s, and of course it was roundly dismissed as a hoax that it couldn't happen. There's nothing to see here, folks, kind of thing. That this fella named Kincaid found these caves connected to ancient Egypt. I think there were some Egyptian artifacts found there, allegedly, right? And that uh, they had been sealed up or closed up or dynamited shut by the Smithsonian, and the Federales moved in and shut it all up, shut it down. Um, you know, for whatever reason they have to constantly keep things sealed up, like Indiana Jones with the secret warehouse full of boxes and stuff stretching on forever. And that this notion of a porthole or it being a access way to some other place or world beyond was just something I added in here as I was thinking about that. And sort of basically that's what inspired this. Mostly what I was thinking about was that cave carved into the side of the cliff, um, as being a man-made structure with the giant blocks, Stonehenge-sized blocks, um, and that portal idea was something I just sort of threw in there after the fact. Of course, it's going to be a portal leading to outer space. Be careful, don't get too close to the doorway. You get sucked out, floating around. Um, but I think the Wirt may have that idea. I first may have seen that idea, like that portal idea, in a book called Thomas Cook's Galaxy Tours. I think I might actually still have that floating around here somewhere. But it was a book, like an oversized art book, coffee table size book, and it had described these stopover points at on a tour, like a tour package you would buy, that would take you from all these points of interest on a grand tour of the universe. And one of the stops, I think it was the final stop in the book, was a series of stone archways. And, or from the outside or from the exterior vantage point, you would be standing near a series of ruins or a set of ruins, just like fallen stone blocks and a few remaining archways. And there was a little blurb and a story around it explaining what was going on. And so from the outside, you could see the remnants, and then there would be the remnants of a temple or some kind of structure made out of giant blocks, and then it's kind of odd to explain, right? Because you have one archway standing there by its lonesome, and when you're looking at the archway, you just see the archway, but when you look at it from the entranceway, it you now see a series of stone archways that weren't there, that you can't see when you're not looking through the archway. And they stretch out on like a walkway, or there's the archways vault over a walkway which stretches really far into infinity almost. And between each archway, as you proceed through this down this walkway, is a whole world, a whole separate world. So you have like archway every 1,000 feet, and there's access to a whole world, like a whole city, whole alien landscape. And the next one would lead you to, some rocky world or whatnot, or some vegetative, some jungle planet or location. And every place throughout every time you went to explore one of those worlds in that you had access to through those archways, it was abandoned and empty. And it was a compelling story. I thought it was really cool at the time. I still do think it's cool. But or that was a very wild use of the idea. Of course, you kind of see it all over the place now, or since then. I think that book came out in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was full of that kind of wondrous, awesome art from that time period, like Angus Mackay or Chris Voss or Jim Burns, even um, that you would see on the novel book cover jackets or the novel book covers. That was David Hardy, awesome stuff. And it didn't look like he was using a lot of airbrush like a lot of those folks were at the time. Very very painterly style. We've still got a lot of that painter and brush on canvas feel to it, unlike sort of that photorealistic airbrush. Um, but it's been that portal idea is not new by any stretch, I suppose, and been used to death in video games. And was that Star Trek episode? I think City on the Edge of Tomorrow or Forever, where was it McCoy? McCoy goes back and goes crazy and goes back in time and screws up the past, screws in the future. My stupid arm is in the way. I have that camera. My setup is that camera on an arm about a foot and a half off the desk. And if I dive into the image, like I'm recording it, I'm watching this after, obviously I've recorded it and I'm doing the voiceover, so I get a better understanding of what's going on. But if I'm drilling in, like a lot of times I'll just drill in to get some detail or get frustrated or something, and I get my head really in there, so my parts get in the way, which I apologize for. And I was trying out the ballpoint pen. Actually, I let the ballpoint pen came up from trying to use that paint above. I wanted to give that some rich and dark look for the outer space, because sometimes the pencil just doesn't cut it when you're trying to get a deep, deep black like that, like that of outer space to get that point across. And especially if you want to do some stars, because you could, I don't know, you can try. Maybe somebody can do it. I have difficulty getting like a starry background over pencil unless I do some white paint over the top, which is what I did in that above image. Painted it black and just put some white dots of acrylic paint. And then for that second doorway, I used a ballpoint pen, which worked out even a little better, I think. And then I just kept messing around with the ballpoint pen for the rest of these image is for this image anyway. Just the skull is carved out of the mountainside. I'm envisioning this huge, almost horrifyingly huge mountain cliff or cliffside that goes up farther than you can see, and on the base you might find at the base along it at some point you'd find this access way. And I don't know, I was just riffing off that skull idea too. It's maybe a Castle Grayskull ripoff a bit. And it's funny, you don't think about it when you're doing these things, these skulls, but it's there in your subconscious, man, all these memories, things you saw before. And you're not intending to copy a thing per se or exactly, and that's not your intention. You think you have this original idea, but it's there, man. We all have this shared cultural, is it collect I don't know if collective or conscious is the right term, but a lot of these ideas, and I'll proceed with a object or a drawing or something like that, thinking it might be pretty original, and then after the fact, you kind of realize it's derivative. But the way it goes, man. Ideas are strange things. And I think at this point, too, I've been carrying this idea around for a while, and I think I might have started to get tired of it here. How many more of these can I do? I didn't necessarily. I kind of lost at this point too. I think I lost a little. I lost my way on the portal situation and started drawing skulls, skull sculptures and structures. That one above, I do think I have the video for that. I didn't necessarily. I started to record it. I don't know how many of the parts I actually successfully caught, but if I can scrape that one together, I might get another video out of that. There you go. I'm messing around with it a little bit. So what am I doing there? That just some a space scene, messing around with some ideas for space equipment, but not part of the show for the most part. Anyway, if you stuck around this long and watched me doodle some nonsense, I truly appreciate it. And if you want to come back, we'll definitely be doing this again. Thank you for your time. Bye.